I
Hold on,
talked to
hold on,
Ozzy.
hold on.
I
Oh,
actually kind of like my
hey, wait,
voice.
hold on,
This is what
guys.
I
Hold
do.
on. Hold on. Hey, everybody, what's going on? Brother John here on a nice snowy day here on a spring day in Pennsylvania. So I'm kind of in for the evening, so I figure, hey, throw up a hangout. Try to throw up a couple questions I grabbed off the web, and I'm here with the wonderful Carlton and the wonderful Keefies. And here, can I ask you a question? So I'm making fun of my own New York voice there.
I thought we were making fun of G-Man there. Sorry.
Oh, okay, well, we're from the
Uh,
same area.
did you know that the beautiful reality actually thought that you were me,
He
Me?
thought me?
Who?
brother John? He thought
Oh,
Get out of
that.
here.
I'm serious. We were on like a hangout one time. I think it went live with Sokka and them, and he said that. Wait, is this brother John? I'm like, no, this is Keefe's, and then he kind of just didn't believe me.
Oh my God.
He thought you were
Now,
trolling.
someone, they say that I sound like Patrick, which I don't get that one because when I listen to Patrick, I'm like, do
I
I
mean
really
Patrick.
sound like that?
I mean Patrick from SpongeBob.
No, Patrick. Patrick Festa.
I know what you meant. I was
Oh,
being.
okay.
I was being. I was being silly.
Yeah, so I mess with him now. I pull a picture up and I squeeze my nose like this. Hey, they say I sound a little bit more like him like this. I don't know.
Oh man, you guys are so terrible. You guys are wicked.
Oh well,
I know. I know.
it's all good fun. I like Patrick.
Oh yeah, everybody likes Patrick.
Yeah, you know.
But see, I'm like what Keefe said there. See, I kind of like Keefe's voice because it's distinct. I don't like
Mhm.
mine. Whenever I talk to Ozzy and I can hear his feedback through his speakers, I sound I don't know what the word is, but I just don't sound I don't know, grown up or something. I don't know what it is. I don't like the sound of my voice.
I think
Oh well,
I think
doesn't
most
matter. I
people.
think your voice is actually sounds a lot more grown up than mine,
That's for sure.
so you have nothing to worry about there.
All right, I'll take your word for it.
Well, Colin, I mean, your voice is distinct. I mean, if I heard your voice, I'll know it's Colin. Just like I'll know it's
Well,
Keithy.
see, this is a problem. I can't go into a bank with a mask on and say, "Give me all your money." They'll know who I am right away.
Of
Yeah.
course, voice recognition now. How's we got cello? Yeah. So, Colin, you taking cello lessons or you're what? Self-learning here,
Oh,
self-taught?
I thought that was no. I bought the cello a couple months ago, and I decided I need to learn an instrument, and since
Wow.
high school, and so yeah, I was taking lessons for a little bit. I didn't.
If you want a unique instrument to learn, you should try learn the harmonica. I did that before.
Yeah, can't do it. I don't know. My harmonica actually was. I was actually thinking about a harmonica, but I wanted something that I could just play for myself and it'd be soothing, and kind of tranquil. So I thought cello would be a good thing. Of course, it's not
Uh,
tranquil when I play it, unfortunately.
no.
Now, you said you took some lessons already in the past couple months?
Yeah. I had a teacher, and she's a wonderful cellist. I mean, she plays for Chattanooga Symphony. She travels the country and does and plays for different symphonies. She's marvelous. But I think she just wasn't my personality style. Okay, that's probably the nicest way to say it. Um, she's Asian, and she has a very sort of I don't want to say rigid, but maybe rigid way of
I was gonna say she's very technical.
well, I don't mind that. I appreciate the fact that
Yeah.
she's technical, but she's very she doesn't mean to be condescending, I'm certain, but she is very much like you clearly don't know anything, so just do what I tell you and be quiet, kind of thing, right? And I say, oh, look what I learned this week. She goes, yeah, you don't need to be learning that. She won't even listen to it. She's like, let's go back to what we're supposed to do. And I'm like, and that methodology probably works really well when you're teaching children, kind of keep them in line, but it doesn't really work so well when you're teaching an adult because I've got specific things I want to learn. I don't have any plans to be a cellist in the future. I mean, I'm not going to go out and make a new profession of myself. I just want something I play at home. So I've got some very specific things I want to learn, and if I miss some things, that's perfectly fine. So yeah, I actually have another teacher I'm going to try this week and see how that works out. But I'm in no rush.
What's like the first song you want to learn?
That's a good question, and actually I was emailing with my new teacher about that a little bit. I think What I told her was this: I have there are some symphonies, there are some cello pieces that I think are really beautiful, and clearly they're way over my head. But I would like to learn how to play cello by learning those pieces, even if I have to learn it piecemeal, different parts at a time, as opposed to trying to do Twinkle Twinkle Little Star 5 million times until I get it perfect. I would much rather learn um, uh, sorry, Bach's Prelude in G major is a really pretty one. Everybody plays that one, and there are a few others. I want to learn a song that I really like. So, if I have to practice something over and over again, at least let it be something that is going to be a song that I'll want in my repertoire afterwards.
My
Twinkle
friend
Twinkle
that makes his
Little
own original music right now, he went through like 2 different piano teachers. So
It's
sometimes you
not
have to
a
go with more than
song.
one teacher.
It's not a song. It's a piece.
Peace.
It's
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
piece.
And hey, Carlton, long time no see.
Nathaniel, hey, yeah,
And,
my WoW is not working at the moment. I have to do something. I don't know what's wrong, but it generates a memory error when I start it up.
Okay.
let me ask you another question, Carlton. If you wanted to, not if you had to, play a song for your wife, maybe on her birthday or not even don't do happy birthday, okay?
Okay, all right, good.
Happy
Good thing,
birthday or
good thing you said that.
anniversary,
Yeah.
some kind of love piece. I don't know. Would you consider that? Would you do that? Which song would it
Oh,
be?
of course. Oh, I don't know because I don't know enough pieces to really be able to pick one that I think would be appropriate. So, sadly, so I mean, when you listen, there's a great cellist. He's done some master classes that are on YouTube. He's gone. He's dead. He's dead now. Paul Tortelier is a French cellist, and if you look on YouTube and watch his master classes, he does some. He was an incredible teacher. And Elgar Symphony is one that it's a very sad symphony, very powerful. But obviously it would take me years and years and years and years to get there. But that's okay. I don't mind taking the time. I don't know what I would play for my wife. Yesterday, I actually just tried to squeak out "Happy Birthday" from just winging it, which of course made it even horribly worse. But it's fun to have the cello. It really it's a nice instrument. There's something peaceful about just sitting with it.
Good
So I'm
luck,
doing that at
good
3 minutes.
luck with it, and I hope you stick with it. And I
Thank
look
you.
forward to hearing your first piece.
I won't play Twinkle for you because that would really ruin it. Okay. I'll be
Haydn
here while I
Cello
play the scale.
Concerto.
Hey, Reuven, by the way.
Haydn Cello Concerto is what I want to hear. Best one is played by Rostropovich, by the way.
So how are you doing today, Nathaniel?
I'm all right, and it's like 1 o'clock in the morning here, so it's tomorrow.
Okay.
Technically, I guess.
Well, it's never tomorrow. Tomorrow never comes.
It's tomorrow for you, though.
No, it's now. If I was over there, it would be now.
I can accept that. I'm all right. How are you?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. It's freaking snowing here. I can't believe it's snowing in spring here.
It's nice and warm here.
Yeah, okay, rub it in like the rest of you.
Actually, I would trade places in a second. I really miss the snow.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, it looks beautiful because it's always nice when it first, that fresh fall. It's
Of
on
course.
the trees. I mean, it's gorgeous.
It's
but-
not only the look, it's the sound of it at night. There's like this muffled sound. It's just wonderful.
Yes, at night.
I really like snow, I have to say.
It's always wild when the snow's coming down and you're driving at night because you look like you're going through a time warp, like in a spaceship.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool. Hey, Floyd, how are you doing today?
Good. How you guys doing?
Doing all right. Just chilling. Figure open a room. I mean, I have I had an appointment, but decided not to do it because the road's kind of slippery, and I figured, all right, I guess I'll just open up a hang, see what's up. Pulled up some thought-provoking questions we didn't even get to yet because we're just chilling.
Are we actually live? Oh, yeah, we are.
Yes, we are live, so let me remind you, yeah, we are live. We have one viewer out there. Hi.
Okay.
So here's a thought-provoking question for you guys, because we were talking a little bit about this, we Carlton and Keefe before we went on air, talking about, like usual, there's like that little bit of drama going on, always some kind of drama, and people love to talk about it. But thought-provoking question here for you: who are the people you surround yourself with?
I don't surround myself with anyone. People surround me just because of my magnetic personality.
Nice.
Your glorious presence, huh?
One does try.
That's
What
one
kind
way
of
to look
people
at it.
are? There you go. What kind of people?
Hangers on, lackeys, bootlickers, that type.
When you say who do you surround yourself with? Do you mean like on the internet or people in general?
People in general, and we could definitely talk about here being, it's apropos. We talk about on the Hangouts here.
I mean, for here, the community is so circular. I think everybody kind of hangs out with everybody.
I don't. I really don't know much about the community.
Yeah, same here. I'm the exception.
You can ask. I think Ozzy has actually made a joke about it once or twice. Yeah, I don't really follow what's going on. I just don't watch that many videos. I don't have time usually.
Can you imagine this? I mean, the people that we all kind of know here somewhat, or have the usual Hangouts. Can we really call this a community? Or it's definitely one dysfunctional community. Can you imagine all these people living on your block, in your community, actually in your locale?
Hell no.
Well, I live in Israel, so there's a lot weirder people around sometimes. It's but no, you're right. I guess it is kind of dysfunctional.
Would some people say the things they do if they had to bump into all these people, like while they're walking to their house, picking up the mail and stuff like that?
It's a good question. I honestly don't know. Yeah, no, I mean, like, cause I have a kind of a pet theory. I'm sure that most people share that a lot of people on here act differently than they do in real life. I don't, but I'm sure that a lot of other people do. I mean, I've heard it said about.
Take G-Man for instance.
I was just about to say I've heard it said about G-Man that
I'm sure that's not how he is in real life.
Yeah, so I mean, I forget who told me that, but somebody actually met him in real life and told me he's quite different.
Is he more chill or is he worse?
No, I've heard he's actually pretty much a lot more chill. He's not like all over the place the way he is.
Now, I mean, I don't like talking about G-Man a lot or drama, but I would say this. That there was one time I remember being it was a one-on-one, or perhaps maybe it was more importantly off air, and he was more chilled. It seems like when some people get on live, they put on a whole different persona,
Yeah, I mean that's what I really mean. I have the feeling that just applies to a lot of people, honestly. I'm not sure. I mean, I'm not positive. I have nothing to really go on because I've never met any of these people in real life. But that's what I suspect at least.
G-Man's actually been more rational lately. I mean, compared to some of these new guys, like that Johnny guy. He's
Johnny
K.
Yeah. So I mean,
I'll be right back.
G-Man actually criticized him on one point, which I found very surprising. So I mean, G-Man's actually, I think, making an attempt to just to be rational and not just pick sides.
Yeah. I haven't seen Mr. Gary Moore around lately, but I don't go into his Hangouts because I really, most part, I've not into it. And I've went into Johnny's Hangouts a couple of times, but it seems very hateful, and I just I don't want to be in that Hangout. It
just seems. Just for point of reference, I have no idea who you're talking about.
Yeah, he's a very fundamental Christian, comes very strong against Muslims and atheists. You know, very hatred. It's just that's what I get. Very mean spirited.
Well,
And
as long as it's articulate and eloquent, I don't mind.
it's not. Yeah.
Somehow I get the feeling that he isn't, though. You know, from what you're
He's
saying.
articulate. I don't know. Think about eloquent though.
But yeah, I've never heard of him. But again, I don't really keep track. So
So it comes back to the question, you know, do we surround, you know, surrounding ourselves with people like that?
yeah, I wouldn't know honestly.
I think it does something to you.
If
I
you
want to
mean,
welcome Adam,
you mean
and
on
I'm
G+.
sorry. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was
go
just
ahead.
gonna welcome Adam and Ranscam. Scam
Oh, hey.
is here in the house.
I was just gonna say, if you mean on G+, I really don't have anything to compare it to be quite honest. You know, it's such a different environment than real life. I don't go around in real life normally debating these things with people. It just doesn't occur all that often.
Right.
You know. Plus, I mean, quite frankly and ironically, I live in a country where right now where these things aren't really that much of an issue. I mean, you can be an atheist and nobody will give a shit. I mean, I know that there are religious elements here, yes, but it's not like in the States. It's very, very different. It's basically like in France too. When I was in France, nobody cares that you're an atheist. You know, it just isn't that much of an issue, quite frankly. So. I didn't do G+. Google Plus didn't exist when I was back in the States. So, you know, it's just not something I generally involve myself with in real life, I suppose.
Do you remember Stickam? Were you on Stickam? That was years ago.
I have no idea what that is.
Yeah, Stickam was like a chat. You had 12 people in a room, and they had a lot of these kind of rooms, debate faith and stuff like that. That's how I know. That's how I know Ruben here.
Well, I engaged in debates on blogs and stuff, but again, you know, when I was in the States. But again, I don't tend to do that all that much with people in real life unless they're like pushing it in my face or something, and that doesn't really happen that often where I live. So, you know. I don't know. What about you guys?
I want to ask you, do you see many Christian evangelists in Israel out in the streets?
No.
No?
No.
So they're not out there with the tracts or anything like that, huh?
No.
Wow.
No. Well, I mean, if you go to Jerusalem, well, no, even in Jerusalem, shit, I don't think I've ever seen one. I probably have seen a couple proselytized to me in Jerusalem over the years, but we're talking over 25-year period. So it's on and off. So it's kind of hard to remember, quite frankly. Yeah, it's not that, you know. I mean, look, even the religious Jews, if you're not Jewish, they don't give a shit. They're not going to ask if like let's say they're out in the streets and they ask you to wear tefillin and daven with them, for example, which is basically to pray with them, and you tell them you're not Jewish, then they're not going to bother you. They're not interested in you. That's not who they're going for, because they're not. If you're not Jewish, you're not part of the tribe. They don't care if you worship, you know, Christianity or Islam or Lucifer or nobody at all. It's not their problem. You know, you can ask Gabriel for his opinion, but I'm pretty sure that's what he'll tell you. And
it's not their mission to go saving people or preach any kind of salvation.
No, there is no salvation in Judaism. No, there's no preaching and no saving of souls, really. Okay, I'm not religious. You really ought to ask Gabriel this, obviously, but you know, there's no. there's no saving of the souls in a sense. There's no like they really just want to, being a good Jew is just obeying the commandments, but it doesn't necessarily follow that it's because you'll go to heaven or anything like that. It's just because that's the law and you should obey God's law. That's their general outlook as far as I can understand. I'm sure it's a lot more nuanced than that, but that's basically the gist of it. And that's it, really. I mean, I don't really have much else to add other than that. It's not like, yeah. Hell, I mean, look, when I was in France, it's not like I had Catholics preaching at me or something,
Evangelists in France? Are there how about in Europe? Right?
There's a few, but really kind of rare, to be quite honest. I actually met some evangelicals in Albertville, where I was. I'm still saying where I am. Where I was, there were some evangelicals there. There's a kind of a school there for evangelicals, actually, for Christians. It's kind of apart up in the mountains. Albertville is at the base of the Alps. And I actually met a couple of American evangelicals that were training there before they were going to Africa. I met them like the week before they were going to go ship off to Africa. And I met them in the laundromat. I was doing laundry, they were doing laundry. And even they didn't like proselytize to me. Like they weren't. It was like they weren't interested in saving my soul. I felt kind of let down. I remember it quite well. But yeah, I guess it just depends on where you are. In part, I guess if they find it acceptable or something. It's not like the States, where it's pretty much anywhere you go, anybody could be there proselytizing. I don't think that happens. I mean, that doesn't happen in France because it's a secular society, and proudly so. And they kind of enforce that in public.
In New York, they do it all the time. I mean, maybe one of the churches I was involved, they would go and get a permit for a park, set up a tent, and people hand out tracts or stuff like that, play some music. It seems like it's done all the time.
There's an interesting thing I like to relate. It's when I was in Arizona, I was living in Phoenix for 5 years, and there I was surrounded by mostly evangelicals and fundamentalists. In fact, I like to recount the fact that I knew probably 3 people who were not fundamentalist or quote unquote Christian evangelicals, etc. Pretty much everyone else I knew was like a creationist, Bible believing, Jesus, proselytizing person. But the funny thing is, they all knew I was an atheist because I was just forthright about this. This was back in 2005 to 2010, something like that. And the thing is that none of them actually tried to convert me, because as far as they were concerned, I was still Jewish, even though I didn't believe in God. Like, I was Jewish, even though I was an atheist. That's the way they saw me. So it wasn't like they didn't see me in the same way as I think they see other, atheists who are Christian or were Christian. They saw me just in the same way they see all other Jews, which basically means that it didn't matter to them if I believed in Christ or not, because in God or not, because I was a Jew to begin with, so I didn't fit their bill for some reason. So they never really had it out with me. I mean, we had a couple of debates, some of my friends, but that was basically it. It was nothing like special, And I mean, that's kind of I guess what I'm saying is like I never actually felt like a complete outsider as an atheist in the States, even when I was surrounded by these people, just because I guess I don't fit the profile of most atheists in the States who are, coming from Christian backgrounds.
You see Adam and Floyd, they're having a little discussion on the side there about Daniel, I guess. You could bring it up front if you want. Sounds.
Yeah, I don't know that there's too much to say. Various dates are given, various events are accredited for the Daniel, the later chapters of Daniel where a set of events is being described. But the historical critical interpretation that's usually used is that the events that the language is apocryphal, that it's in reference to the events leading up to the profaning of the temple by Antiochus for Epiphanes, and that it was actually written right at the time that was happening.
Right. That's my understanding. So when Daniel 9:26 says an anointed one was cut off, which the King James Version says the Messiah Prince, which Christians read, oh, God, that has to be Jesus. I mean, there's no doubt about that. My view is that's High Priest Onias 3.
Yeah, Onias, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So the King James really renders that Messiah?
The Messiah Prince is the way King James has it. Well, I mean, the desolation of abomination is listed in the Matthew Gospel. It actually says Daniel. So that's interpreted as the destruction of Jerusalem in 70 CE. I interpret that as the desolation of the temple when Antiochus Epiphanes put in a pagan altar to Zeus. It says destroy the city, so people say, it says destroy, so it has to be 70 CE. But if you look at the Hebrew, destroy could mean defile, corrupt, things like that. So it doesn't necessarily have to be destroy.
Yeah.
What's the Hebrew for it?
Shakath is the Hebrew word.
Yes, that's
Strong's locates 147 uses of the term in the Bible, including Genesis chapter 6. The earth was corrupt in the sight of God. Mm-hmm. So the earth was Shakath, so the same word is used there in reference to what God. To how God saw the earth before He sent the flood. Shakath is the word there.
Yeah. So you have 70 weeks of years. That's 490 years, and the Messiah, or an anointed one, or the Messiah, the Prince, depending on what translation you read, is cut off after 583. So now you get to play with fuzzy math here. So you got to pick a starting date of when it was decreed that that the temple and the city be rebuilt, and you can pick 5 dates for that. There's in 2 Chronicles 36, 22, 23, Cyrus decrees in 538 BC, and there's a second decree from Darius I in 520, and there's a third one from I'm going to butcher this guy's name, Artai Exorus, I don't know, in 457, and then there's also another one at 444. But then you could actually take Jeremiah's date of 556. Okay, so you have 5 choices for a starting date. Now you have to subtract 483 years from that. Okay, 483, what kind of years? A solar year, a lunar year, and also some people make up what's called a prophetic year, which is 360 days per year.
Yeah, I thought was the Hebrew.
Yeah, I was asking Reuben. I said, Reuben, how many days are actually in a Jewish year? And he said this is a lunar one, but since a lunar one does not, a lunar one's 354, a solar one's 365, and because a lunar year is shorter, um, they'll stick in an extra month every now and then to kind of catch up. So depending on who you want to pick, if you want to pick Jesus, you could pick a very early, a later date, like 444, and then use a prophetic year, and that'll get you right around 30 somewhere. It's like, aha, okay, that's Jesus. But you can always, why not pick another year, or pick a lunar year? There's a lot of math you can play around with to get the results that you want. Like, pick a starting date and pick how many days you want in a year, and then you can get to the end year that you want. There's like I don't know how many different five starting dates and three type of years to choose from. So what was that? That's 15 combinations, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. As for the use of the word Messiah there, note that Messiah means anointed, and that the same word is used throughout the book of Leviticus to refer to the priest. So that does not necessarily refer to Christ. It refers to some anointed person, either one of the priests or one of the kings, or presumably Christ.
So some Jewish commentators put it later, like around 60-something BCE. It was the very last high priest that ruled. I forget the person's name, but some Jewish commentaries put it at that was the anointed one. I forget who the name was. I have to look it up. But for me, it has to be Onias 3, because if it's around the time of Antiochus Epiphanes, he has to desolate the temple, and then he goes on a campaign like to Egypt and so forth. Daniel actually has him killed in Palestine, but he actually doesn't really die there. He just dies of some unknown illness somewhere else. But the description of what's going on right around Daniel 10 and 11 matches him perfectly. So for me, it has to be Onias 3. But again, take your pick. Take your pick on starting dates and what you want in a year and so forth. But it's interesting. And also, I mean, that also assumes that they had accurate. They actually had accurate dating methods back then, which I don't think they had. They didn't have accurate lengths of the Persian reign. So there's a lot of assumptions in all those things. Who says if you have the perfect who says they had the perfect dates to do their math from? Yeah, Reuben. I heard some scholars put some of the chapters of Daniel like 3rd century. There were different. There's different sections. I mean, if you include the Catholic version, Daniel's written in 3 different languages. But the one found in the Protestant canon is just up to chapter 12, which is some of it's Aramaic and some of it's Jewish. But they put some of the middle chapters a little later in the 3rd century. But again, most of it they believe was written right around 164 BC.
The names I'm coming up with for the high priest Phineas ben Samuel, 67 to 70. And then there's Aristobulus the Third, I think 36 BC, under the Hasmonean dynasty. I'm very unfamiliar with all this stuff because I haven't read through Daniel in a long time.
Oh yeah, I have the date. High priest Alexander Uniah. What? No, one. Yanai, Yannai. High priest Alexander Yanai. 103 to 76 BCE.
Okay. Here it's spelled Jannaeus.
Okay.
It's pronounced with a Y anyway, right? The J.
I think so. Yeah.
Yannius?
Came to power just at the end of the 62-week period of 103 BC, and was the last of the important Hasmonean leaders.
I'm just looking at the Wikipedia list, and they list a few after him.
But you know, if you're a conservative, the Book of Daniel is actually a true book of prophecy because it claims that Daniel was writing it around 6 BCE during the Babylonian exile. So if you actually believe that, then it's actually a true book of future predictions. Yeah.
So, Ruben, it's Jannius?
Jannius, yeah, Alexander Jannius. Well, yeah, I mean, there's a theory that that the teacher of righteousness of the Essenes was killed under Alexander Jannius around 100 BCE, and that person has been linked to Jesus, the historical Jesus itself. I think it was Irenaeus. No, Athanasius actually thought Jesus was killed then. Irenaeus actually thought Jesus was killed during the reign of Claudius when he was not yet 50. So there's a lot of speculation and theories going on there. A lot of blurry lines, a lot of blurred lines when it comes to the historical Jesus, which leads some to believe there was no historical Jesus, which I kind of lean towards, actually.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, so you're leaning towards the Mythos?
Yeah, I'm not totally sold on it. But the reason I kind of lean toward it is I can't think of one concrete piece of evidence to say, yes, there was a historical Jesus that was crucified under Pilate around 33 BCE. If there was, if Jesus was the teacher of righteousness of the Essenes, I mean, that's a possibility. But if he wasn't killed under Pilate, then I don't I don't see how you can call that person the historical Jesus. I mean, it was a historical figure, but
that's actually very interesting. I think I would probably agree with you then in terms of saying did or didn't a person of this identity exist. The core identity claims that I would, the core identity ideas that I would be looking for absolutely would be the details surrounding the crucifixion under Pilate. You're right.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. I think that is the key event to mark a historical Jesus, the crucifixion under Pilate. I don't care if he got his parents' names wrong, or if he was born around 6 BCE or 4 CE, or somewhere in between. I'll let all that stuff slide. But I would think the crucifixion under Pilate would be the key event to mark the historical Jesus. Robert, what's his name? Robert Eiseman. He did a lot of research on the Dead Sea Scrolls. He thinks James the Just was the teacher of righteousness of the Essenes, which is very interesting. I never read his book, though. But there's a lot of
we lost Adam.
yeah, I mean, there's a lot of fuzzy stuff going on there, that's for sure.
I'm looking up, trying to Pontius Pilate, any extra biblical evidence for him being there.
Well, I mean,
Pilate stone. Have you heard of the
believe
Pilate stone? Apparently his name is mentioned on a Pilate stone, dated between 26 and 37 AD.
Well, yeah, I don't question the existence of Pilate at all. I definitely believe Pontius Pilate existed. I mean, there's 3 independent historical sources for Pilate: Josephus, Tacitus, and Philo. All 3, so there are 3 independent contemporaneous, historians, writing about Pilate. So I don't question the existence of Pilate at all. But was there a charismatic Jewish, I don't know, rebel or leader or reformer or whatever you want to call him that was crucified under Pilate? If the answer is no, then my view is there was no historical Jesus. But again, you could say, oh well, he really evolved from the teacher of righteousness of the Essenes, or something like that. Well, can we call that the historical Jesus? Well, definitely not the Jesus of the Gospels. That's for sure. But yeah, I don't question Pilate. I don't question, Herod the Great.
Why would you question Herod?
Well, I don't have any reason to question whether Herod existed. I don't think there's anyone disputes that.
Yeah. If they do, they really don't know what the hell they're talking about.
What's really interesting is, like in the New Testament, the epistles we have, you never hear Peter say, Paul, I was with Jesus. I walked with him. I ate with him. I hung with him. I know what he taught. You don't. You never hear anything like that.
True.
And Paul says he was untimely born. what? Untimely born? He was, he would have, he would have been born around, he would have been around the 30s. You didn't have to meet him, but, untimely born. What's puzzling is these later church fathers didn't agree when Jesus was crucified. It's like, what? I mean, didn't they have access to the Gospels? So they all say he was crucified under Pilate. Or, why would they think otherwise? That's very strange. But I read parts of Richard Carrier's book. Most of it seems pretty good. I want to go over it again, though. Some of the stuff I kind of question. Carrier, something about Carrier just doesn't wash with me. Sometimes it seems like some of his facts are, I don't know, very questionable. Or he kind of his conclusions from them, I think, are a little far-reaching sometimes.
I haven't read any of his books. I just saw a talk of his, but that was it.
Yeah, me too. I haven't read the books. Seen the talk. And then most recently he was on with Nate.
But I don't think. I just think, frankly, it's a moot point. I don't know why people argue it. It's you're never going to convince the majority of people that this is true, even if you pull up all the evidence you want. It's not going to happen. I understand from a historian's point of view, but quite frankly, nobody's ever really going to know for sure unless we find something with his name on it, who you're going to? I mean, look at the people who don't even accept the age of the Earth and whatnot. How are you going to convince them? Actually, with what proof are you going to convince them that Jesus didn't actually exist?
Mm.
And I'm talking even about like moderates. You could show like science accepting, moderate, Church of England types, the evidence that Jesus did not exist, and they still will not believe you. So it just seems like a moot point to me. I don't really believe, after reading all the stuff that I have, I don't really believe that he did exist, and in quite the same way that a lot of people think he did. But it doesn't matter because they believe it, and there's nothing we're going to say that's ever going to change their mind.
Yeah, it's like the authorship of the Gospels. Unless we have absolute concrete evidence that someone else wrote them, they're just going to stick with the traditional, names that are on them: Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. You'd have to find like a copy, a signed copy, and even then, if you actually found the first page that says, I, Timothy, wrote this, and it goes on, people would question it. They'd say, well, how do we know he's not copying? And he means I copied it. Obviously, the word wrote can be, translated in so many different ways. People will go on and on about it. They'll never believe it. It doesn't matter what evidence you find. People will believe whatever the hell they want to believe.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it is. It's unfortunate, but, But then again, with Jesus existing or not, I don't think there's enough evidence one way or the other, frankly. I mean, I think in that case, you really should err on the side of caution and say, well, then, it's not proven that he did exist. But people don't do that, obviously. So I don't know where
I
it's
more
going to
likely
go.
believe that perhaps Jesus existed, but the story just got embellished, or
Oh, I'm sure it did.
yeah,
Oh, there's no doubt about that. I mean,
yeah,
just compare the Gospels. The story
ideal.
keep on growing. I'm going to try to switch over to Talking Shit Tuesday. I want to say a few things.
Is that going on right now?
Yeah, it's going to start in 4 minutes.
Did I get invited to that? I don't even know how to get in.
Usually, yeah, they just sent.
Oh, he did invite me.
Well, there you go.
But I don't see the Hangout link, so I don't really see how to get in.
Oh,
Whatever.
I left already. Okay.
Whatever, it's okay.
Good, you could have asked for the link. I was curious. I wanted to ask him if he was like surrounded by religious people, because maybe sometimes you
Yeah,
feel like you're on a mission. You're going to prove these things. Because you have to kind of prove it to somebody. It's affecting you very personally.
I honestly I don't know. I feel that honestly it's kind of a waste of time for most. Like I have better things to read about, frankly, than literally dissect the Bible for clues whether or not such and such a person existed or such and such things happened. I see it as an utter waste of time. I'm sorry, I do. I just do. It's like, you know what? It's like the people. I love Star Trek, but the people who go out and learn Klingon are idiots. Okay, that's all I gotta say. These people who dissect in such minutia are the kind of people who learn fucking Klingon. That's what they are. And look, people will say all sorts of things. Oh, you're being intolerant, etc. That's right. Fuck them. That's all I gotta say. All right.
I guess everybody has their obsessions.
You got better things to do with their time. Everybody does.
Everybody, I guess, has their obsessions. Do you have an obsession?
Yes. But the problem is it's such a shitty obsession because it's screwing up so much of the world. That's the real problem. At least the people who speak Klingon aren't fucking everything up around them.
Well, at least thank God, at least they're not trying to implement Klingon law into our government.
Yeah, maybe it'll happen. I don't know. I doubt it'll happen. Yeah, I mean, what can I say? I mean, I'm really just. It's the whole. It's the whole, losing perspective thing for me. And I think they really do lose perspective, quite frankly. I think they've lost it when they go that far. But whatever. Historians do this all the time. That's fine, but I think historians have spoken on the matter in no uncertain terms on whether or not he existed. In terms of we can't really prove it one way or the other. And so I think unless you really are a historian, you should just leave it at that point.
Yeah, I hear you.
Here, let's see if I got a reply. I asked for a link.
Yeah, I got the invite, but there was no link.
I got the link. I'll post it for you. Hang on. Let me copy this and I'll paste it for you. I'm guessing it's already full, but we'll see. All right.
There it is. He posted it publicly.
I'll meet you over there.
All right. Thanks. I'll go check out Talking Shit Tuesday there with our friend J.D. Kane. So thanks for stopping by, for listening. Maybe talk to you later. Oh, don't forget, Wednesday, God Talk, Sins of the Father. 10:30 Eastern Standard Time. See you then.